Today we have a 2004 Toyota Land Cruiser with the 2UZ engine that's in the Tundra, Lexus LX470, GX470, etc. So we're replacing the valve cover gaskets on this one. First thing we're going to do is remove the top cover here, which is held in by two 10mm bolts and two nuts on the back. As you see the brackets, get that out the way. I've already did one thing here because I did have to mess with, it was misfiring, so I had to change the coil out, but there's this bracket right here that is basically, basically on the valve cover right here. Let me get to that side there. So as you can see, these two holes here, one here and one here, those are 10mm bolts for this bracket right here. Pretty much it sits in there just to hold the vacuum lines and such. So pretty much just remove this, get this out the way here. We're going to go ahead and unplug all the connectors to the ignition coils here and go ahead and remove them with 10mm bolts here. Take all those out, and pretty much that side will be mostly free from any obstructions, except for, these little evap lines, which we can remove here as well, or back here, whatever, and then this hose here as well. Now that is just for the left side, which is the easier side. So the right side, we're going to go ahead and remove the air trunk here. So just take these clamps off, take it off. However, we're also going to need to remove this. So number 10 here, I believe there's one more. Let me check. I guess only two. So those two, remove the hoses and the vacuum lines here and everything. So pretty much we're going to free all that up, and then once I get all that out, we'll expose both valve covers and see what else we got to do. Just removing connectors, and it's easy to go. Just want to give you a view of those two 10s that are right there. So now you can remove it, you see it's loose. We're going to remove 4 vacuum lines, one up here up front, this big one here, 2 right here. Now keep in mind they do get brittle over time, as well as these clamps don't really need much force to move them. So I'm going to go ahead and get all that out the way. I use the number 10 instead of a Phillip head to get these clamps out. Once I get all that, we'll just lift this out and expose the valve cover on the right side. Alright, so now that air trunk is removed, pretty much exposes the whole right side here, and you can see it's very simple. This wire harness here, what I'm going to try to do is just take it off from the little clip here and just swing it forward a little bit so we don't have to go all the way down and unplug it. So that should give us enough room to get this out. We're going to go ahead and unplug all the ignition coils, number 10s, remove all the coils out, the coil packs out. We can go ahead and also just take this off too. Get it out the way. And for those who like, oh, why are you changing it if it's not leaking? It's leaking inside, okay? It was misfiring, so yeah. And the same with this side here. Unplug all the ignition coils, remove all the ignition coils, number 10s. We'll go ahead and just remove this from here, remove this completely here. Goes to the throttle body. Same thing, concept with the other side. We're gonna go ahead and disconnect the evap line here. We'll just take it off from one of these points, push to the side. Same with this vacuum line over here. And just pretty much free up this entire area so we don't have to fight with anything. I might leave the fuel filter line connected. I might remove it since I'm also going to be replacing this later, so I'll probably just remove it from here and swing it to the side as well. But pretty much we're just going to free everything up and expose everything so that we can easily remove this. So I've pretty much freed up everything on the right side here. This wire I spoke of earlier that we're just going to push to the side. So it's held in like a little clip to a bracket right here. You can push this back and let me focus this camera. So you can push this little tab out and slide it out, or open it here. Now I was having difficulty since it is down here, trying to get that at a good angle. Really, I mean, if I probably spent like another minute, I probably would have got it, but instead there's a number 10 bolt that holds it. As you can see from the little hole there that holds it down here. I just took out the number 10 bolt. I'll just put it back later. So we can swing us all to the side here and literally freeing up the area we're working on here. There's also number 10 back there, this holding this wire harness. You can kind of take that off just to push this up a little more, because there's one bolt right there. So I think there's a total of 9 bolts on each side. So this side's pretty much ready to be taken off. All number 10s, just pop it out. There is silicone on this front here, so it might get stuck a little. Now on this side here, There goes my tool. I've already removed pretty much all the hoses. Two on this side here, you know, one there, one right there. Unplugged all my coils, took those out too. Took out this hose here, just kind of swung it over here. So pretty much this side is almost free up. There's like ground wire that kind of goes across right here, as you can see. We'll go ahead and take that off for now and put it back later. Number 10, swing that back, as well as go ahead and remove the fuel line here, the injector rail from the fuel filter. Once we do that, same thing, 9 bolts around, take it out, some silicone front might keep it down, just pop it off, and we'll get it out the way. Now to separate the fuel filter from the line that goes to the injector rail, it's really simple. Just push down on it like so, and there'll be 2 sides here. You see this green here on the out portion, squeeze those in, and then pull up. A little easier with both hands than probably if I took it off from here. But there you go. Just be careful now, we have gas sitting around, so just swing that to the side there to get it out the way of the valve cover. So now let's go ahead and remove all of our valve cover bolts and get these valve covers off. Okay guys, so I've gone ahead and removed all the bolts on both of the valve covers here. So pretty much, oh, I left one on that one. So pretty much, you know, you can't really pull it up. So even though they say not to pry on it, I mean, you kind of just find a good point. Because it is, you know, not plastic, just kind of go towards the bottom a little bit. Mainly towards the front, I would say, because that's where the silicone is stuck at. Just kind of give it a little work it. You'll hear it like kind of start separating. Being kind of gentle, you know. If it doesn't come up, look around, make sure you don't have another bolt still sitting. But as you can see, it's starting to come off. It gets stuck on the spark plug tube seals too, especially if they're really old, you know, it's crusty on there. So just kind of start working. I have to go around and work it, but just giving you a little idea. If you have trouble trying to get it off, just kind of go towards the front. You see those 2 ears right there, you can kind of start working it out a little bit. But just also, like, you know, be cautious, be very careful. You don't want to snap these. So yep, there you go. As you can see, it's pretty much free. Or it's all the way free, I guess. So I guess I'll show you all that removing it. So just kind of work it around. Very simple, comes in and out. That's why I love these engines. And there we go. Let's clean this up and change out these gaskets. All right guys, so before I put the new gasket on the valve cover, I went ahead and cleaned that off. That's drying up right now, but while that's drying up, we're gonna go ahead and clean up the cylinder heads here. So pretty much what I mean by that is all this silicone that we see right here where it meets the timing cover on both ends, and I guess also back here as well. We're gonna clean up the surface of all this silicone and pretty much just wipe it clean. When we set it down, we don't want any oil or anything there as well. You know, we want a good seal basically. So basically, I'm just gonna go here and just wipe it up using a brass brush. I'm just gonna brush up whatever can't get off, and then with the razor blade, being very cautious and gentle, we're gonna just kind of get these off. You don't want to cut into it, which I haven't seen it actually being a problem, but I know it's one of those things you don't want to do. But yeah, so let's go ahead and clean these up, and then I'll show you all putting the gaskets on. All right guys, so we have our valve covers here. You know, I cleaned it up a little bit here. So really, you know, you just want to get inside more, which I'm probably going to go in there a little bit more. You don't really have to go too ham. But we're going to go ahead and deal with these spark plug tube seals here. So in order to get these out, you can obviously tell someone's been here before because of the way these are bent already. The factory won't look like that. You're gonna have to bend these outward. I usually just bend like 2, 3 of them. Just, you know, like a little flathead, or I have a small pry tool. Just gonna go under and just kind of bend them out. And then you can get like a little, nose pliers to pull them back a little bit. And then pretty much we're just gonna do that and then pop these seals out. They come right out. So just like pull these back. And you can use the same tool, flathead or whatever, and just go under the spark plug tube seal and just pop it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it to all of them, and then we'll get to the next step of installing the new ones. Now, because someone's been here before, I can't get away with doing 2 out of 3 or 3 of them. Anyway, just a little shortcut I usually do, but pretty much open all the tabs like so. So you pretty much have like an actual hole for the next one to go in. But to get them out, pretty much open it all up, and then just kind of work your flathead or pry tool in there and just pop it right out like that. So I'm gonna clean all this up, get the rest of these out here, and get ready to install the new ones. All right, y'all, so I already went ahead and put one in. Now, before we start doing that, a couple things you're gonna have to do. First off, make sure that all these tabs are fully back to where you can literally just like push your finger around it and it's just a circle. You don't want one just being skewed out, like I think like this one right here, you can kind of see that will basically tear up the side of your seal. Second, we're gonna throw some little lube in there. You can see there's some blue in there just to make it easy on ourselves. And third thing, just to mention, be sure to put it this direction, not this way. I've seen people do that. Just remember, the spark plug tube literally has got to go through here. So what we're gonna do now is just set it in. As you can see, it just kind of sits itself in there because there's nothing obstructing it. And then just kind of give it a little push as much as you can. It should be easy because there's some lube in there. And then it gets to a point where you kind of can't push anymore. What you can do is get an old seal, put it right on top. And I like to use a dead blow hammer because, you know, all the weight is evenly distributed, so it goes down smoothly, especially when it's the size of the tube, of the spark plug tube too. Just give it a couple knocks. That was more than a couple, but you know, might need a little more, but for the most part, you know you got it when you can put these little tabs all the way down, like this one needs to go further, and just pretty much using, you know, a small little hammer. I like to use that instead of a pair of pliers because these can break. I'll just, you know, go to the side and knock it down a little bit gently to close it up just like how these were. So let me go ahead and do the rest of them, and then we'll get to the other gasket. So I have my spark plug tube seals in now, all nice and flush. Tabs are back in place, and I've already set my gasket down for the valve cover. However, I'm not done with it yet. This is just so I know the direction and know which one's left and right. There are two different ones. I believe there is actually, nope, I guess they're the same. No, there are two different ones. This would not fit on that one. So, just get my orientation of how I'm gonna do it and take it back off now. And the reason why is because I've gotten burned a good amount of times. Not literally burned, but figuratively. Because when I set the valve covers on, not on this engine, but other engines I've worked on in the past, it will slip in the back. And I won't know until I'm pretty much torqued it down, done, and ready to check it, and it leaks. And pretty much whenever I do valve covers, I do this now just to prevent that simple little slippage of the gasket. So what I'll do is actually add this, it's a yellow super weather strip and gasket adhesive, which I mean, you can tell I've been using the hell out of these lately. But anyways, I'm just gonna go around, just do a little light line of it, make sure all this is dry and clean of oil and any debris. This is just little stains. I'm gonna go around, put it in, and then set my gasket down, and then that'll be pretty much done with this valve cover. So I pretty much just went around the whole area, just make sure it's nice and clean. Doesn't really matter. It's just a little adhesive to hold this gasket in place. So I'm going to set this in, and then once I'm done with that, I'm actually gonna flip this over and set it down on like a nice piece of cardboard and just let it sit and let it dry up before we install it. Okay guys, so I got the spark plug tube seals done on this side. However, I received the wrong gasket for this side, so I got to wait for that. In the meantime, we're going to replace these little washers with a little rubber grommet on them. Now in reality, you kind of don't have to replace these because they sit on the outside of the gasket, which so they don't really do much. But just because I have it, I always go ahead and do it. So easy way to get them off. Let me see if I can put this camera down. Pretty much, I'll grab it like this, hold it with a pair of pliers on the washer point like so. Grab one, you know, you can grab a ratchet, whatever, number 10, and then you just do this. Comes right out. Now just put the new one on and get ready to bolt it in. Okay guys, now while I wait for my driver's side gasket here, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the right side, aka passenger side. So before I do so, obviously we cleaned up the surface, and then we're gonna put some silicone around these half moon areas. These are the weakest points on a gasket. So we're gonna put it on each corner and then just make a little trail up on each end. But I also put it back here, There's like these plugs back here. I just put them along where the lines meet. Just a little extra security. Let me clarify. Earlier I said this is part of the timing cover. Timing cover's up here. Sorry. Other engines. The reason why we do this is because where they meet, just like back here, this is because of the half moon shape. So I went ahead and did that, and I'm also gonna go ahead and I lubed up these spark plug tubes to make it easy for us to set it in. So now all we gotta do is set it down, and then let's get our 9 bolts set. So my valve cover is in place now with my new washers. You can see right there. Let me go ahead and put that in. So right now I'm just gonna tighten these all down very lightly by hand, evenly, basically, you know, starting inside going outward, and then we're gonna torque it down to 6 Newton meters, which is about 4.5 foot-pounds or 56 inch-pounds, something like that. But pretty much after that, we'll be done with this valve cover. All right, go. My right valve cover is on now, torqued down to 4.5 foot-pounds, I guess. That's what the specs say, so there it is. Now we're just gonna put everything back together on this side and get ready to do the other side. All right, y'all, so now I'm on the left side here. I got the correct valve cover gasket now. We're gonna do the exact same thing we did the other end. We're gonna do silicone right here, these half moon shapes are on both ends, as well as my personal thing. I put them on back here where these little lines are for the plugs. And then we're gonna set the valve cover on just like we did the other side and get ready to torque it down. Okay guys, so my silicone is on. Looks a little ugly because it's at the end of the tube, but pretty much getting those 2 spots there. And if you want those spots back there, just keep in mind to be careful with this wire harness here, the loom here, just go under. So let's go ahead and get this installed and torque down. So my valve cover is thrown on, torqued down to 6 Newton meters or 4.5 foot-pounds. That's pretty much it, you guys. Just throw everything back together and we're done. Sorry, this video is usually longer than what I normally do, but I mean, I love these engines, so I might have kind of went a little too far than I should have. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe for more videos to come.